Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Tuesday, April 23rd, 2024. I, of course, am with Originator Success here with your daily mortgage rate update, the only place on the web where you guys get to join me live each and every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, as we do this video. If you're watching on the replay, don't forget, give me a hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you were here. Always appreciate all of you that do that. I know that quite a few of you watch each and every day. I appreciate it. If you're watching live or on the replay, don't forget, if you're on Facebook, smash that like button, tag an LO friend, share this post in a group. If you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, give us that comment, hashtag replay. Always appreciate that. Let's go ahead and say hi to the live folks. We got Mr. Mike Tebow and Tim Klyla representing the Michigan. And then we got Ms. Mallory Fotiades, Kenny Rivard. Good morning, y'all. Great to have you. I'll swing back and we'll say hi to the live folks in a moment. Well, we got Brandy Brickler here for the boring. Yeah. Hello, Ms. Brandy. Did you wake up and decide on violence today? I liked your post about the real estate agents and adding those fees, by the way. Good for you for posting that. It's kind of funny. I don't want to get I have to be very careful because I, do reflect on other LOs, our Originator Success members and what they're marketing to agents. But, you have to wonder, have you guys seen on social media, on Instagram and TikTok, agents have been out there, drumming up their value and talking about all this stuff, and the anger and just flat out vitriol I know it's a vocab word, but it's just suits, just anger from all these consumers towards real estate agents and their compensation. It is insane. Something mortgage people never saw. So agents, for those that don't know, Brandy posted a post about how agents, they get paid all this compensation, 3 to 6%, and then turn around and now they're like adding these transaction coordinator fees or like just adding fees. And people are, they wonder why. Anyway, you said there were some good points. I didn't think. I'll have to see what it was. So anyway, good morning, Garrett Potts, Kyle Mazikas, Kim Mason, Megan Lindberg. Great to have you all here as well. All right, let's talk about the boring stuff. I was hoping Ron Siegel would get on and tell us what day it was, but he's not here. So he'll probably join in a minute late. Anyway, mortgage-backed securities. We're watching the 6.0 coupon. It's currently down about 9 basis points to start the day. That puts us really right here. If you take a look at the 2-day chart, and let me see if I try to, nope. Let me zoom in and refresh the page so you guys can see it. Hold on a second. We'll refresh. It doesn't let me scroll sometimes when I do this. So anyway, taking a look at this one here, you could see when pricing came out yesterday, right around 10 a.m., we were right around 99.36. And what are we at right now? 99.38, almost exactly the same as when pricing came out yesterday. We did see a handful of reprices better yesterday when bonds improved through the afternoon. Did you see a reprice better? Let me know in the comments. Good morning, Garrett Knox. Let me know in the comments if you guys did see a reprice better yesterday. Just curious. Our text alerts, we had mentioned that you may want to take advantage of that reprice better scenario because we didn't know that it was necessarily going to hold this morning, but even that was very minor. I mean, when you're looking at like Mortgage News Daily, and we use this as a reference point, we're talking rates that really have not changed much at all. 7.41, 43, 44, 43. I mean, we're talking right there. Small variations in pricing, really no change in rate. Rates bumped up when markets reacted to the CPI inflation data right here, this giant red candlestick. They've worsened down, and then now they're running sideways. Same thing with the 10-year Treasury yield. We're at 4.65. That tends to be about the high side here of where you'll see that 10-year Treasury yield. This was 4.67. That's kind of the line in the sand here at the high water mark, but we've really gone sideways. Again, this trend here, you can see it's moved up from down here, right, to up here. It moved higher, and now it's moving sideways. And we're going to see it continue sideways this week. It's very unlikely that we see any big moves this week. We'll see sideways. Next week, we're going to get a lot of labor data. Going to get JOLTS, ADP, of course, the weekly, which you get every jobless claims. And then we're going to get the BLS report. Also, of course, on Wednesday, the Fed meeting and the Fed press conference. And we'll see what kind of reaction we get to that. Right now, there's really an expectation that, the Fed is going to change, or the Fed is going to cut rates one, maybe two times by the end of the year. Probably, maybe the first cut will come in September. It's not likely that this meeting changes any outlook on that. So it's not really going to change rates that much from there. Keep that in mind. I think we're pretty consistent there. So again, this one's boring, which means it's going to be short. There's not a lot we can really go into when it comes to this stuff, what we're talking about here. One thing to note when you're looking at the Fed futures, again, the expectation by the end of the year, it really, I'm messing around with this new cumulative. I didn't ever see this before. Cumulative, this is, basically it's a 50-50 idea. Are we going to get the year or two? That's currently what markets are pricing in. It's a coin flip whether we see one rate cut, which would be here, or two, which would be over here. And as far as when that's expected to start, July, almost 60% expectation that we'll still be at 5.25. But there is some idea that we could have a rate cut by July. And then the idea that we'll see that first rate cut, 85% expected by September. That's what markets are currently pricing. And that's what we'll continue to see. So, nothing really to change on any of that. There's no other economic data today that's going to be a big deal. We're going to get the PMI data in about 10 minutes, and that could kind of tweak pricing for the morning. I have all this and I didn't even bother. I wrote it all in and I didn't even bother to click it. So let's do this. Rate sheet should be about the same. The PMI data could change things at the last minute. Rates aren't likely to move much at all this week, though, as we've talked about. Really not going to see any movement until next week. We do have the PCE inflation data at the end of the week. That could come in slightly better than the CPI inflation data because it doesn't put the shelter component, it doesn't get as much weight. And that shelter component really kicked our ass in that CPI one, but nothing to get excited about there. Reprice risk on the day is low. Should be another quiet day. Very unlikely that we see any big movements today, especially after that PMI data comes out. That's really the biggest thing that's going to happen all day. The outlook, meh. This week is likely to have rates basically tread water. I see people on Facebook. Are rates going to go down? What are rates going to do? They're not going to do anything. They're just going to stay where they're at. This is the new normal until we see what has happened, until we see an expectation that Fed rate cuts become more likely, or Fed rate hikes are back on the table. If we were to see Fed rate hike talk, that's going to push rates up. We don't want to see that at all. No talk of Fed rate hikes. We want to see talk of Fed rate cuts, but we're not going to see that until we see labor market weakness, economic weakness, and inflation cooling again. Just not likely to happen. So you're not going to see that. That puts us in a lock position where we're going to go ahead and close. Anything less than 15 days is I would consider locking. There's really, think of it like this. If it closes next week and we don't get something favorable in that data, the rates are going to jump and there's nothing you can do. You got no time to recover on that. If it's risk averse, there's not a lot of reason to float right now. You generally want to float because you think we're going to see better rates come along. It's not likely to happen in the next 30 days that we see that any significant better rates. Some days we're going to have better pricing than others. Not that you don't want to take advantage of those, but as far as any real big rate movement, we're not going to see rates move from these levels that we're seeing them at. And let me go ahead and do the side by side here, right? Come on. Why is it not clipping to the... There it goes. Okay. So there we are. So again, let me get rid of some of the background stuff that's annoying here. Hold on. Get rid of that. All right. So looking here, the reality is there's no reason to expect rates to move down. You're not even going to see them break near 7. Right now we're right around that 7.5 mark, 7 3/8 to 7.5, plus your loan level price adjustments and loan level adjustments and all that stuff. So really not going to see any changes to that. There's really no reason to consider floating on all that stuff. So, all right, my friends, well, that's it. And you know what? Tomorrow also going to be boring. And the day after, probably boring too. So unfortunately, going to see a lot of boring, but it will recover at some point. It's going to get busy. Next week, we'll have a lot to talk about for sure. So anyway, that's it, my friends. Y'all have a fantastic day. I will see you tomorrow. Make it a great one. Bye-bye.